there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Tony
You
Hawk
owe us money.
Yeah. Tony Hawk in Boom Boom Sabotage. Released September 12, 2006. This won't surprise you, went straight to DVD. Went straight to DVD, straight into the bin. Toonami got it on November 25th, 2006. They didn't wait, and it was shown at 7 p.m. The time for the highest quality of cinema. Sam, explain yourself.
So, bit behind the scenes curtain. You know, if you've been watching my movie picks, I always try to mix it up. I try to do some, like, oh, let's do the Iron Giant, or oh, let's do a Miyazaki movie. Oh, let's do Tony Hawk in Boom Boom Sabotage. I did present the other two another option, which we'll save for a different date. Yeah, no, it's just Tony Hawk ruled the '90s, late '90s, and early to mid 2000s, and I had never seen this movie. I love the Pro Skater games, even the Underground games, and yeah, that was just like, hey, there's a Tony Hawk movie that was on Toonami. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was so confused by this film because I thought when we mentioned it, it'll be like the remake of the film Brad, kind of like sort of like a Cool Runnings kind of deal. Like, oh, a kid's got to save the skate park from the big evil businessman. In Tony Hawk comes, I will teach you skateboarding. We don't get that. We get
it. Have you ever played Psychonauts by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything about this movie, so the way Psychonauts works, for those of you in the audience who don't know, is that the main character travels into the minds of the deeply disturbed people around him to try to figure out how to, make them less disturbed. A little bit like Persona, but a lot less horny.
Yeah. Shame.
This has the same design theory as Psychonauts. Like, all the characters look like Psychonauts characters. The circus stuff is very Psychonauts. It's not as well written as Psychonauts.
No. Tim Schafer usually does quite a good job.
Yeah.
Tim Schafer was not involved with this, to my knowledge.
No.
It's kind of funny because my thing for the circus. So for the context, this idea is that Tony Hawk is bringing his Boom Boom Huck Jam, and we'll get back to this, to this town which used to have a circus, but the circus got kicked out. So the circus people are going to take back the town by kidnapping Tony Hawk. You may think that's a very loose plot. Don't worry, it's even looser in practice. But to me, all the circus people look like either One Piece filler characters or someone trying to draw the characters of Coraline from memory.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one. For me, it felt like the first draft of the Tim Burton puppets.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Boom Boom Huck Jam. Golly, that brings me back too. It was basically Tony Hawk's attempted answer to the Warp Tour, right?
Yep. So this whole thing is basically an advert for the Boom Boom Huck Jam.
You guys know who animated it, right?
Yes. Our friends and yours, Mainframe Productions, who also worked on Beast Wars. Somehow their animation got worse as the years went on.
Oh,
They also worked on Reboot. They are Vancouver-based. I know where their studio is. It's not that far from me, so guess where I'm going this evening, lads? With a bat.
Just you, it's just like you outside of the building, like your Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh yeah, looking up, at the Shinra Tower.
If you've ever seen the Father Ted episode, I'm sat there with a sign saying "down with this kind of thing."
Yeah, you would probably walk in and say like, "I'm here for Boom Boom Sabotage," and they'd be like, "I haven't heard that name in a long time."
You just hear it's like everyone involved committed a ritual seppuku after it released.
Okay,
It's been 80 years.
John, I'm sure you have this written down somewhere. How much screen time does Tony Hawk actually have in Tony Hawk and Boom Boom Sabotage?
You're gonna laugh. I ran out of time because I was too busy counting how long all the bloody skateboarding montages last. He gets so little screen time in this, which is really funny because this is his film. This is clearly, I'd say it's clearly a backdoor pilot. It is a backdoor pilot. The entire point is to get these kids over because, let's go into this. This film, they started working on it in 2001. So that was when Tony Hawk's was doing better. 2006, when the wheels come off the pro skater train, with Downhill Jam and Project 8, which have their fans, but they're not doing as well. We're a couple of years off from the bloody one you ride on the Connect with the fake skateboard that doesn't work. To quote Animation World Network in 2001, Mainframe Entertainment Inc., creator of computer animation for television, has entered into a co-venture with professional skateboarder Tony Hawk to develop an animated series. Hawk will serve as executive producer for the new series, which is in the early stages of development. The lead character will be based on the famous skateboarder who will team up with a group of kids who look up to him and become involved in various capers. This whole thing was to set up that. That's why when plot twist turning its cat, he says, "You're the freak of the week," because that was clearly they wanted that catchphrase. Even in 2005, they released a press trailer, which starts by listing off famous kidnappings, as you do in a film for children. And then they basically have it's circus people going, "Oh, the only thing that could stop us is this kid," and it's the kid with the hat whose name I've forgotten. I don't think they ever caught him by name. And he's skating around. But what's really weird about that press trailer is the aesthetic is totally different. It's much grimier. It looks a lot like Underground 1. The kid is much more, they call him a skate punk, and he is much more of a punk. Like, he smashes the camera, he breaks his board. So clearly, one point, because we have this cast of kids, but they basically are one character split over 7 bodies. Because none of them do anything.
Yeah.
So that was clearly a thing, because and if you go on, if you used to go on Mainframe's website, they had a load of promotional pictures of the film that are all cell shaded, not this pure CG. So this thing was a night. I mean, it's a direct-to-DVD movie. They started in 2001 and released in 2006. That pretty much tells you if it took you 5 years to produce this, something clearly went wrong.
Yeah.
Did they stop paying people to make this midway through? Were they like contractually obligated? Like, what happened?
Did you notice that as well? The animation went really downhill midway through. Noticeably.
It started weird but kind of interesting. Like, at least it was, weird in an interesting way in like the first 15 minutes, and then it really declines, especially when you get to the climax of the movie.
Yeah, it feels like the opening quality of animation feels like an early Crash Bandicoot or Gex game. It
did feel like a Gex game.
Just like Gex.
Enter the Gecko. Yeah, so it really has that kind of not even early 2000s. It has that mid 90s feel. And then also the voice quality on Tony Hawk is so markedly different than any of the other voice acting. It's like, did you just come in for like an hour and just like record these lines and like, cool, bye?
Oh,
they had him recording him.
He hardly speaks in this film.
Yeah,
they had him recording on Skype, like early 2000s Skype Tony Hawk.
To be fair, Tony Hawk being a terrible actor is my favorite part of this film. That's why I like Tony Hawk, and that's one reason I really like the guy, because like I was into skating in the 90s. I wasn't very good at it, but the cool thing of Tony Hawk, like unlike sort of like David Beckham and Shaq, who were all these larger than life, Tony Hawk just felt like a guy, like a dude. He didn't ever feel like produced, which made him kind of cool. So yeah, it's Tony Hawk. It's really good.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Tony Hawk's existential tweets about how nobody ever recognizes him anymore?
Of course, yeah.
And I'm now going to do it on purpose because
I was kind of bummed because they were doing a big press push for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, but the outlet that I do a lot of video game work for didn't get the invite, and I was like, that'd be my one chance.
Look at Tony Hawk and be like, who are you?
Yeah. Let's talk about Boom Boom Sabotage, man.
You have a lot to answer for, Mr. Hawk.
Tell me what happened. My favorite thing about this film is the basic setup. The set of this film is actually broken. We should spin us up. Because the idea is we have this Epcot-coded town, and the guy's cousin used to run a circus, but the mayor kicked him out. So again, you'd think in a Tony Hawk film, the person who would be the villain would be someone in authority, because we're skater punks. The villain is a guy who got legitimately dicked over by his own brother. He's the villain. He's like the victim here.
Yeah.
But they do this bit early on where they're having a talk in an office, and the guy mentions, I have 6 toes. He pulls his sock off, and we get this kind of Ren and Stimpy close-up of his really gross foot. Yeah. Then a load of flies start eating it. as you do in a kid's film. That's what happens in children's media. And then they have a little bit when he gets angry, and they show like a little almost claymation emulation of him going from like calm sea to angry island. I was like, that's really neat. Like I thought, okay, we're gonna mess with the animation style a bit. That never happens again after that moment. Like,
Yeah, it honestly kind of felt like American McGee's Alice in like the very beginning of it. Like I was kind of on board. I was like, okay, this is gonna be weird. This is gonna be some lazy town insanity. And then somehow they took something that started out kind of interesting and made it so unrelentingly boring. How do you make skateboarding this boring?
yeah, we have these long, drawn out skateboarding montages. So the big point in this film, the big selling point, is that all of this skating is motion captured. This is technology Mainframe were very proud of. They had used it in another film. They used it in one of their much better films, Barbie and the Nutcracker, because it was used to do all the CG for the ballet sequences. I will say, I did watch a bit of Barbie and the Nutcracker. It works infinitely better there. The reason is simple. In Barbie and the Nutcracker, they make Barbie look like a human being. The problem with this is the motion capture is actually quite good. Like you look at where the kids' feet are when they're on the board. It's all very, very good. But their bodies are these weird stylized things. Like Tony Hawk hasn't eaten for 3 weeks and is 6'2" for some reason. So the really fluid animation doesn't mesh with the bodies. And it's going to sound weird if someone who hosts this podcast, but this film was let down by the fact they chose to make it an animated feature. Because the skateboarding sequences have no weight to them. So when I was doing this, I watched the DVD extra of the making of, and you see Tony doing some of these stunts. When you watch Tony doing them, they look awesome. Because it's a, a 190-pound guy flinging himself the way gravity doesn't want him to go. Like, that's awesome. But in CG, when you compare it to the circus guy who's also got toon physics, your grind just looks boring. I don't want to watch you grinding when this guy can apparently do backflips.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's something about, like, I mean, he's Birdman, Tony Hawk's Birdman. He's
Yeah.
he's the coolest skateboarder to ever live. And yeah, I don't know, he just shows up to deliver like bored one-liners and I guess do like a a kickflip once or twice, and Bob's your uncle. We've saved the day.
Does Tony even? Yes, he skates once in this film, but not in the climax.
Nope.
Nope. Just to be yeah.
Yes, that's the thing we should bring up is that this is promotion for the Boom Boom Hut Jam. That's why you'll note that all the posters have BMX written on them because Dave Mirra was on this tour, and this is why at the end there's a guy on a moped and Tony has his Bulma cycle because those were all stunts from the Hut Jam. They're given no context in this film, so Tony just randomly decides, I'm Bulma. I'm going to run over a child.
I will. Oh my god, yeah. I will say, like, one of the biggest issues of this like early 2000s CGI is exactly that, the weightlessness of it. Everybody feels like balloon people. Like they don't. There is no sense of impact, and this was a problem in video games too for a lot of games at the time. Is that things that were moving into that 3D space weren't able to convey weight very well. That's why Arxis still can't animate people walking, like it's a very difficult thing. And this shit didn't even, Beast Wars does a better job at conveying the weight of those characters than this movie that came out a decade later does.
It's funny because when there's a bit where the kid climbs onto a truck and then gets thrown off, that is the most impactful moment in this film, the kid going into a ditch.
Yeah.
To the point, it's actually quite shocking because, like, oh, he's dead. That kid's dead. Like,
The child is dead.
This is the first time that there's anything in this film has had any form of impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this film also just has a real weird tonal issue with the gags. There are some, one of the early ones they have is skateboarding to fad like blue jeans and toilet paper. And then there's a bit when they're all practicing skating, Tony shouts, if I pull the next one, you've got to try one in panties. Which is like, what, Tony?
Oh yeah, there was another one with the circus guy when they're doing like the cannon thing, and he's like, people prefer their human cannonballs to have skin, and it's like, I don't know if that's funny or not.
The ultimate one is the ringmaster walks in with his hand chop tied to him. It's not explained. But then Tony goes, "Hey, nice strap on," which, like, I'm not against adult kids films making jokes aimed at the adults. That's actually a good thing. It's a nice thing, but the joke has to make sense both ways for it to work. The
Yes.
Animaniacs gag everyone loves makes sense because they're funny as gags and then have the second layer. That has no second layer, and there's no reason the one guy is strapped to the other guy, aside from making Tony Hawk bring up strap-ons.
I don't know how to feel. You know what? I completely blew past that when I was watching it, and now thinking about the fact that in a child, like, look, I agree with you. There should be like a comedy for adults in children's movies. I don't know if I'm comfortable with a strap-on joke in a kids movie.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Hawk is like any skater's like dad figure, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Is this implying that Tony Hawk likes to get pegged? Who knows?
I mean, apparently he's wearing panties and he's getting the excuse out early.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they also have a bit where it's like, oh, is this Hugh Hefner's grotto? Yeah, man, the kids are going to get that joke. Yeah, I bet they're rolling the aisles. Because then that's followed by one going, it smells like pee-pee and poo-poo in here. It's like, wow, we've just gone from like overly adult to overly stupid for the target market. Like, writing!
It is a thing.
And this film also tries fourth wall gags and it messes them up, which is brilliant. They do too. One of them is that the guy, when they're trying to find Tony Hawk, he says, oh, Tony's always being dragged to things he doesn't like voice records for lame animated features. And after a skate montage, someone goes, oh, what are we doing this for? We've got something else to do. Fourth wall gags don't, if you fourth wall that your film is crap, it doesn't make it better. It just points out to me that even you know it's crap and you could have done better.
It's the Deadpool 2 scenario where they're all like, oh, this is poor writing. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good fourth wall break has to enhance a good point of the film, not just remind me I could be watching anything else. Like The Shining, because you referenced that for some reason.
Did either of you do what I did and take a little trip down the rabbit hole of the IMDb reviews?
Yes.
Because there's stuff that's funnier in those reviews than in the movie.
Yeah, this film is highly reviewed. Specifically because a YouTube funny man gave it a review, and then all of his fans went on to basically everywhere and posted memes.
Yeah, it's like a 2.9 out of 5 on IMDb, I think, which is way too high.
Yes.
Way too high. Absolutely too high. But there was one review I read where it was like, incredible. And then it went on for like 6 paragraphs about everything that was bad about the movie. And it gave it it opens up with, this is the best movie you ever made.
I did find one actually positive review from an actual outlet, which was funny. From Kids Zone, spelt with a Z, because it's the 2000s.
They were definitely trying to get in with the kids, weren't they?
They were definitely being paid. They put it like, Tony does all of the voiceovers for his character, and there's some seriously funny lines in the movie. We're not going to mention what they are. Just believe us. There's also tons of other extreme sports stunts, including a crazy circus ringleader riding an old school penny farthing of a 100-foot ramp. Throw in some blinged up clowns driving pimped out cars and a few flying monkeys, and you've got one sick flick.
Yep, definitely. Hello, fellow kids.
The freelancer, they had to hire that. I want to give you a hug, because I can imagine that freelancer just sent that off and then went, I dreamed of writing the great American novel.
Yeah.
Mother was right. I should have become a florist.
That's a part of their soul they can never get back. And it's
I was going to be the next John Steinbeck, and here I am writing about Boom Boom.
Boom Boom Sabotage. Yeah.
Boom Boom Sabotage.
I'll be frank with you guys. I fell asleep during one of the skating montages, and I woke up and I was so annoyed because I was only asleep for 7 minutes.
I had a similar experience. I got a phone call while I was watching this. Start one, so I had to take it. So I just stood up and I was like, I'll rewind and get back. I got back like 10 minutes later, and the skating was still going. I was like, wait, did I pause this before I left? No, it's clearly further along.
See, I made the choice to bring a buddy with me, and that buddy was my dad. Because I was visiting my parents, and I was like, Dad, I gotta watch this for the podcast. You want to watch with me? And he looked at me after the movie ended, and he was like, I'm never letting you pick movies ever again. 30 years later.
I'm now up for adoption.
I am now up for adoption. If somebody would like to adopt a 34-year-old woman, that would be great.
This was one of those films where if someone walked in, I think I would have been more happy saying I was watching, pornography than admitting I was watching this film.
Yes, yeah. I would.
This was cringe. Actually, as it, this film was cringe in like the worst possible way.
This goes back to my philosophy that I've mentioned a couple times. I would rather a film be bad than boring, but if a film is bad and boring, that's a bigger problem. Like I went into it being like, okay, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Like the first 5 minutes were giving me some weird stuff to work with. I could have worked with that if it had stayed interesting and weird. And then it just like look, you can do interesting skateboarding stuff. Skate the Infinity did it, that was a win for all of us out there, right? But this was just not fun. This was just not fun.
Yeah, it's that weird thing. This film did not know what it wanted to do.
I wonder if you watched it on. Oh, sorry, I cut
No,
you
go
off.
ahead. I'm curious to see where this is going now.
Oh, I was. If you watch this on Toonami, does that mean you would basically watch an entire skate sequence and get a commercial break, and there would be a 75% chance said skate sequence would be continuing in some form?
So I
Oh,
couldn't
God.
find an off-air recording, which is hilariously damning. I'm
Yeah.
sure someone has someone somewhere, but I can only act as like an actor. Private collections. But yeah, these would have run into breaks and would have gone nowhere fast. I will point out, I look on the Toonzone forum for that evening's Toonami broadcast. This aired next to a One Piece episode. And guess what everyone in the thread is talking about? The
One Piece?
episode. I found outside of the title of the thread, which like lists off all the shows that night, and then someone who posted the guide, there was no mention of this film at all, which is surprising because even Bionicle, and it's a totally kind of even Bionicle made people talk about it. This apparently everyone had like just a weird trauma moment and just blocked it.
This is one of those movies that I bet somebody in their like 30s is like, did that movie actually exist? Like, did I actually watch that film?
Oh,
Somebody has.
totally. Because this was direct to DVD. This had to. I bet someone had that. Like, mom found it in Walmart's bin, and it's like, it's $1. How bad can it be?
Somebody's grandma just like, I know you like skateboarding, so here's this movie I found.
Here's a man who's a bird.
Yeah, you have all the Tony Hawk games. Have this too.
It's also really weird because this comes after Tony Hawk's Underground, and this comes after Tony Hawk's being in all the like Jackass film. It feels like it. I guess the attempt was to remake his brand to appeal to younger kids because all of his teens were aging out. That was the problem Underground had. Is that by the time Underground came out, it aged up with the audience, and the audience were aging out of skateboarding.
Yeah.
I should point out,
Unlike Tony Hawk.
this may actually be in continuity with Tony Hawk's Underground too. Like that fan thing. Because when Tony is kidnapped, he just reacts to it like nothing's happening. Tony Hawk's Underground 2 starts with him kidnapping people. Like he jumps some skaters and takes them somewhere. So everyone's like, is he not fussed because he thinks this is Underground 2 again?
I mean, Underground 2, it's, which is the last Tony Hawk game I bought, not counting the remasters of the Pro Skater games, is an entire contest between him and Bam Margera going around the country trying to pull the best pranks and skating moves.
Yeah, so I could totally
cooler premise than this.
Just anything is a cool premise. So much of this film there's some points of the plot I just want to. I don't think discuss as much as I want to get them off my soul for the sake of going to heaven one day. Like one of the big points is there is a group who are clearly the insane clown posse. They are clearly the insane clown posse in a car, and this white kid starts trying to like talk rap to them. Yeah. And they appear at the end, so they're clearly not with the circus ringmaster. They just hang around in the sewers with him, which is either a reference to it or we just didn't think this through. I'm going to presume we didn't think this through. But like they do a weird fake out where at the end they're doing a chase with Tony Hawk, not on a skateboard, in a cage, in a trailer. Because when I think Tony Hawk in chase sequences, I want to see him in a trailer. I want to see Tony Hawk in a cage after this, but that's unrelated. And and they have like a roller coaster go down a mountain, and they blow it up with firecrackers, and they try and do a fake out Tony's dead.
Yeah.
Which, sorry guys, after the performance, I was kind of hoping he was, because it would have made the film interesting. It did lead to my favorite joke of the entire film when he comes back. The ringmaster goes, "It's Tony Hawk's ghost." Was like, okay, that would have been really funny if his ending was to do like Christmas Carol. This guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been fun. I would watch the hell out of an all skateboard version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
I also
Tony
feel
Hawk's Ghost Skater.
Tony Hawk's Ghost. Give it 20 years. We all know that that's what's coming next.
Can we get Patrick Stewart to play Scrooge totally straight for the entire film?
Hey man, Patrick Stewart lives in Park Slope. We can go find him.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen Misfit Theatre's Christmas Carol Goes Wrong, but I'm imagining Derek Jacobi kind of that kind of idea going on. I think one of the things that really upset me about this film is that the guy we meet at the start, the Air Force guy, is based on Tony Hawk's father, who was a retired Air Force vet. He did set up, he was one of the guys who regulated extreme skateboarding, set up a lot of professional leagues, set up a lot of skate parks, was very encouraging. Tony, you can read his biography. It's a really nice nod, and I think it's actually a shame they didn't do more with that. Like, I think that just Tony Hawk's dad would be showing why he was so cool would have been much more interesting than what they gave him, which was a one-note, I was in the Air Force gang.
I thought that, and maybe this is where my diseased brain is coming into this, I thought that they were trying to do a kid-friendly Hunter S. Thompson reference with that character. And
that would make more sense.
Like, that's just kind of where my brain was at. I was like, this is a weird thing to put in a kid's show, but okay.
If I hadn't have read Tony Hawk's book like a couple of months ago for something else, I would not have picked up the fact that it's like, oh, Air Force guy. When he like mentioned setting up the park, that's his dad. I looked for pictures like, oh wait, is it? That's the point. Like, that's a really sweet story. I would go for a Tony Hawk biopic talking about him and his dad. If you find footage on the line, they're really sweet together, and it would have been like a nice emotional core, which this movie doesn't have.
Doesn't have a lot, frankly, but how it is kind of surprising there's been no Birdman biopic yet.
I mean, probably when he's slowly retiring tricks. Probably when he's retired all of them. I guess you don't do the biopic until you're totally out of the game. Then you got to burn bridges.
He's still skating too.
Yeah, he's still got it.
How old is he now?
Like late 50s at this point.
Jesus.
I mean, his son just had a kid with Francis Bean Cobain.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Birdman's getting bird bones these days.
Yeah, all of your 90s dynasties are coming together. What's probably not on that baby's viewing list for childhood films is Tony Hawk in Boom Boom Sabotage.
You never know.
It's sealed in you. No, it's how the kids punish. Eat your vegetables or Boom Boom Sabotage goes on.
Got this kid locked up like Clockwork Orange style watching Boom Boom Sabotage.
Yeah, this film, it kind of weirds me out. This film is a shame in some ways, because after watching this research, I ended up watching like a lot of Tony Hawk's old skate videos, even some of the recent stuff and some of the interviews. Tony Hawk's cool. Like, he's very wooden and he's not a good actor, but he's a cool dude. I think you could have pinned it would have been basic, but again, that idea I was saying earlier of rad, kid has to save the skate park from the evil property developer and Tony Hawk's the mentor. You could have pulled that off and it would have been, at worst, fine. You would have seen Tony actually skate, which would have been cool. You could have done something there, something much more interesting than this. You could have got a supporting actor who's funny.
Yeah.
There was an idea here, but they wanted the animated series, mainframe had to replace Beast Wars at this point, and like, who looks the most like Optimus Prime? Tony Hawk.
He's got the stature. Put him in there.
Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Reboot is over. Who do we go next?
The Hasbro checks have stopped coming. We need to do something else.
Yeah.
I think my favorite Tony Hawk tweet, just to end on a more positive Tony Hawk note for myself, is There's that tweet going around like with Wesley Snipes crying as he's got the gun. It's like me when I have to kill Tony Hawk in the race war. And
Yeah.
Hawk actually responded was like, I do appreciate I appreciate the hesitation though.
I appreciate that. Tony Hawk has some great tweets out there. There was one with like a TSA agent where it was like, "Oh man, like that skateboarder. I wonder what he's doing now." And Tony Hawk's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: he did tweet about this film when the YouTuber reviewed it. Apparently, his daughter is a fan of theirs, so he saw the video and he basically sent quite a nice tweet that was just like, "Yeah, I find it cool. I find it cool. I found the video funny. It was cool to see someone mention it." Which, yeah,
Hey,
it was a very negative review, so it's nice to see him being a dude about it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that for him.
Again, it made me again sad. It's like, yeah, Tony Hawk is. I would rather have actual Tony Hawk than whatever mainframe tried to make him into here, because actual Tony Hawk's the dude.
Yeah. But I sense that we're getting into some final thoughts, I believe.
Well, I mean, let me start it off since I was the one who suggested this, though I did put it to a vote.
You did. That is fair.
Blame the
So my next picks are going to be much safer, and I'm going to, I've been familiar with all the other movies that I've selected. This was kind of the wild card, and here we are because of that.
Yeah, my thought is you should watch this movie. It is not good, but it's bizarrely fascinating to just sort of sit there and imagine the series of decisions that were made to get to this point. I recommend fast forwarding the skateboarding sequences. They are boring, but everything else is this weird microcosm of what could go wrong. Like, there is something bizarrely mesmerizing about just how misaged this film was. So, Sam knows for the future, next time I have to get more Deke Sailor Moon, there will be no regret in my heart. There will be no sadness. There will be pure vengeance.
You've taken a beautiful thing and turned it into a grudge now, Sam. But
Well, I'll know that, keeping in mind that single season of Deke Dub Sailor Moon is longer than Boom Boom Sabotage.
only But Boom Boom Sabotage is exactly 20 minutes long if you fast forward through the skating bits, so it's all good. But yeah, in a similar vein, I am usually the one who's very open to things being bad. I love it when things are bad. I'm always but they have to be interesting and bad. And I love Tony Hawk. I grew up with Tony Hawk. I wish he had better movies. But I'm glad knowing what I know about mainframe entertainment and the other stuff that they've made, like every Barbie movie you could possibly think of, it is interesting to see when they take a weird chance on things like this and seeing how it failed spectacularly. But that does mean that we are rolling in to our final destination. That's right. It is time to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang.
Boom boom.
Boom boom.